Sorry. David Garrett.
Sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. Mr Chairman, I'm going to try and make a speech which will agree with all sides, which is no easy thing, or at least in part, and I'll see how long it takes before the shouting starts. Firstly, it is certainly a myth that there are vast hordes of solo mothers, as the old term used to be. I don't really like beneficiaries, out there rorting the system and having a wonderful old time. That's a myth. It is certainly a myth that the lifestyle enjoyed by beneficiaries of the DPB, or indeed any other benefit, is luxurious. That is a myth. Equally, it is a myth that there is no one, or as Ms Cepoloni conceded, are few, who choose that lifestyle. And Mr Chairman, since the 3 or 2 previous speakers have used anecdotes in their speech, I will use one in mine. In the last 3 weeks or so, I ran across an acquaintance I hadn't seen for more than 10 years. I wrote about it in a column that I write elsewhere. The woman was heavily pregnant, and I remarked upon it. We went off and had a coffee. And I ascertained that this was a planned, indeed welcomed pregnancy that had cost money because it was an in vitro job. And when I casually mentioned what the plans were for raising the child, my acquaintance, not an unintelligent woman and not a young woman, said, "Oh, I'm applying for the DPB, of course." And I said, "What do you mean, of course? Do you not understand that that money comes from the rest of the taxpayers?" And I quoted the late great journalist Frank Hayden, who said on many occasions the government has no money, the government uses ours. And my acquaintance purported not to understand what I meant. It was her right, she said, to raise children on the DPB paid for by the government. So I tried again and explained that the government has no money. They use mine, Mr Chairman, they use Ms King's, they use every other worker's money. At that, unfortunately, the coffee turned rather frosty. Now, in response to that column, I've received several emails from people I don't know who've quoted similar cases. So to say that these kind of cases are almost unknown or extremely rare is sadly not true. The other thing, as I said at the beginning, it's not a luxurious lifestyle, but that's part of the problem. We've created a society where it is seen as an acceptable, perhaps not too bad, thing to do. And the result is impoverished children, impoverished mothers, and great difficulty with the societal problems that have been addressed on the other side. And I'll agree with the Labor Party, Mr Chairman, that this bill is almost laughable in the loopholes that it has created. The Labor Party wouldn't call them loopholes, but whatever they did, the exemptions that can be claimed so as to avoid the consequences of the bill. What we need to do is to create a society which says, it reaffirms that old cliche that welfare is a hand up and not a handout. It's not to be considered a lifestyle. It's not, in fact, a good idea to plan for it. One of the correspondents I had over the past few days said that she was astounded that at the careers evening at her daughter's school, an upper decile school, it was considered an acceptable career option to be a solo mother. Now that is appalling, Mr Chairman. It's appalling on a whole pile of levels. Appalling for the taxpayer, but mostly appalling for the child. Imagine saying, I think that my good... Well, Ms Cepoloni insisted on talking about women. We'll talk about parents. Doesn't matter. Solo parent. Imagine creating a system, as we have, where a career option, a viable career option, is solo parent. What a disgraceful situation we've got ourselves in. This bill, in fact, goes nowhere near far enough, Mr Chairman. I was sitting listening to the Minister speaking and thinking, as a lawyer, I could drive a truck through all these exemptions. It won't be hard for people to find their way out of actually working. What we need is a far more fundamental attitudinal change. And this bill, it doesn't achieve that. So I agree with both sides. Thank you.